Hello friends, I am Arpit and I'm here with today's analysis. Today is 7th of June and we are going to deal with two very important topics which are in news. The Pakistan's Prime Minister is on a 5-day visit to China. Pakistan and China are strategic allies. They define their relationship as higher than the mountains, deeper than the oceans, stronger than steel, and sweeter than honey. One of the major agendas of the Prime Minister's visit to China is the fast pacing of China Pakistan Economic Corridor. China Pakistan Economic Corridor is a flagship program under BRI of China. This program has met different challenges in Pakistan, like, for example, the Baloch province, where the Gwadar port is, where this CPEC is ending. There have been many terrorist attacks. 5 Chinese have been killed this year only, and since its start, multiple Chinese have been attacked and killed. This is a major cause of concern for China. That is why the progress is slow on the China Pakistan economic corridor. Next is antimicrobial resistance. Now, just imagine a situation where the bacteria becomes resistant to the medicines you are taking, or any microorganism becomes resistant to the medicines you are taking. That microorganism is causing disease in your body. You take the medicine to cure that disease, but that bacteria or that virus knows how to fight with this medicine. How does that bacteria know? Because over the years, there has been excessive use of antibiotics by the humans, and the use has been inaccurate. If the doctor has prescribed antibiotics for 5 days, we stop taking it after third day, feeling we are all right, so we should stop taking. Now that at that time potentially, I would say, weakens the bacteria but does not kill it. Bacteria learns how to fight with that. And in future, if that medicine again comes, the bacteria now knows how to fight with that. That is antimicrobial resistance. Scientists have found a way out of dealing with this, it seems so. So let's get started with the first topic, that is Pakistan PM's visit to China. Pakistan Prime Minister Mr. Shehbaz Sharif is on a visit to China, is on a 5-day visit to China. And the most important thing which is going to be discussed is the second phase of China Pakistan Economic Corridor. And it is expected to be formally announced as well. Now, what is China Pakistan Economic Corridor? It is basically connecting the Kashgar region in the Xinjiang province of China to the Gwadar port. Gwadar port is a deep sea port in Pakistan. This is in the Balochistan province. In future, the already existing Karachi port will also be linked to the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. This is a flagship program of China under its larger Belt and Road Initiative. Belt and Road Initiative is a multimodal connectivity project by China launched in 2013, which aims to connect three continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe via multimodal connectivity, via road routes as well as sea routes. This projects, the China Pakistan Economic Corridor, is a flagship project. Why? Because it is going to ease China's imports from Africa and West Asia. West Asia, the region from where China is importing most of its energy imports. So, energy imports can come here directly and then to China from here. They would have to go all the way through the Indian Ocean region, then to Strait of Malacca, and then reach the eastern part of China. This will also reduce the threats to Chinese trade through the oceans, because Chinese feel that Indians can pose threat to their trade. That is why it is called as a flagship program. Now let us see about CPEC. It was launched in April 2015. At that time, it was a $46 billion project, and now it is $62 billion project. The corridor links Xinjiang with Gwadar and also passes through the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And this passage of China Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is part of BRI, through POK, became the reason why India opted out of POK, or opted out of BRI in 2019. India was part of BRI before 2019, but since this China Pakistan Economic Corridor has been passing through it, through POK, India opted out of BRI. Now, often described as a flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative, the stated goal of CPEC is to transform Pakistan's economy by modernizing its road, rail, air, and energy transportation systems. Second is to connect the deep sea Pakistani ports of Gwadar and Karachi. As I told you, that Karachi port will also be linked to China's Xinjiang province and beyond by overland routes. So this is the main, I would say, goal of CPEC. But what is CPEC? Now, there are two phases in CPEC. The first phase talks about infrastructure creation, road, rail, pipeline, electricity transmission. So the first phase focuses on the infrastructure creation, the railway line construction, infrastructure, energy, port development, and such like. Now, the first phase, infrastructure has been constructed. Now, what will happen? Industries will be there. So, the second phase revolves around special economic zones. Formally, the second phase is going or expected to be, launched in this times Pakistan's Prime Minister's visit to China. But in 2022, there was an industrial agreement between China and Pakistan that, according to many experts, marked the beginning of the second phase, but it was not formally announced. It is expected to be formally announced now in this visit. It is expected, not 100% sure. Now, the CPEC story so far. The first phase of CPEC focused on infrastructure, energy, and port development projects. Progress has been patchy. What are the reasons or what are the factors which are pointing towards the patchy progress? Data from CPEC website shows that of the 21 proposed power projects, 14 have been completed. Two are under construction and five are yet to start. Pakistan is, I would say, uh, struggling with power generation. We saw the protests in POK region where power was a main issue. So they need to focus on this. And since this CPC is passing through POK, so power transmission can be done to that region. That can be a probable solution. Of the 24 proposed transport related projects, rail and road, six have been completed, but no work has started on 13. This is worrisome. 13 plus 6, 19. On 5, the works are going on, but that work is also believed to be patchy. Of the four, nine, only four of the nine proposed special economic zones, designated areas with lenient trade laws to promote growth, have seen any progress. And no SEZ is complete. This is worrisome. Now, this basically started after 2022, agreement. Not much is happening in Gwadar. Most of the projects around the port were far from completion because China is also creating this Gwadar economic zone in and around the port of Gwadar where industries will be established, products will be made and exported from there only. According to the official Chinese news agency Xinhua, CPEC had brought direct investment of $25.4 billion dollars to Pakistan until 2022. And after that, the investment has been very, very slow because of various concerns with respect to the China Pakistan economic corridor. The concerns or the roadblocks are first, the corruption and red tape in Pakistan. This is stalling the progress. Second, the political tumult that the country has been going through. There's no political stability, and this time also the government is there, but it is a coalition government, and with no proper majority. Elections which were conducted were a big question whether they are free and fair or not. Then the poor security situation in Balochistan province, and I believe that this is the major reason why problem is. The project has triggered violence in the Restive province, and tens of Chinese nationals have been killed in terrorist attacks since 2018. At least five Chinese working on various CPEC projects have been killed this year so far. Then, to the historically marginalized Baloch people, since it is ending in the Balochistan province and Baloch people have been historically marginalized, they are the ones who have been protesting against the government from a long time in Pakistan. Gwadar appears as a symbol of continued economic injustice. They were promised social welfare, they were promised schools, they were promised hospitals, but you know they have not been built. The Gwadar port has been built, connectivity has been created, but the promises have not been delivered to the Baloch people, and that is why it is the Baloch people who are attacking these Chinese people as a symbol of frustration. CPEC related infrastructure has not generated quality jobs for local people in the province and has failed to bring any economic dividends to the impoverished population of Balochistan. So, that is a major cause of concern for the entire project, I would say, CPEC. Now, is CPEC generating jobs? A hit is that it is not generating jobs. It could have generated more jobs, but why it is not generating jobs? That is also, a question which we need to understand. CPC was estimated to generate more than 2 million employment, means more than 20 lakh employment opportunities for Pakistanis. But government data says that less than 2 lakh 50,000 jobs have been created so far, means only 10% of what was expected. Why? The Chinese approach of not partnering with local companies is not going to help create new job opportunities for millions of Pakistani. This is what the Pakistanis think. Now, the Chinese companies, they are tax exempt. They bring everything from China, including labor, and hence they will have no reliance on Pakistani businesses to fulfill their demands. And hence, the job creation in Pakistan is not that great as it could have been, or as it was predicted, or it was hoped by the Pakistani authorities while starting this China Pakistan economic corridor. Another factor, or another, I would say, thing which we need to understand in this entire scenario is Pakistan's rising debt. Now, according to International Monetary Fund, China holds roughly $30 billion of Pakistan's $126 billion debt. Means total debt on Pakistan is $126 billion, and out of this $126 billion, $30 billion had to be repaid back to China. And China had only $4 billion debt given to Pakistan in 2013. But see, in a matter of 10, 11 years, it has risen from $4 billion to $30 billion. An IMF report also found that between July 2021 and March 2022, more than 80% of Pakistan's bilateral debt service went to Beijing. China is taking back that loans as well with interest from Pakistan. So this is also happening. Many in Pakistan and outside fear that this debt burden is not just unviable, it also effectively makes Pakistan a Chinese client state. The non-state actors, the terrorist outfits would be happy with this situation because they believe that they would be getting China's support in tackling or attacking India if Pakistan remains subjugated to China. This is what their thought process is. Now, the question is that what does the military, which is wielding the real powers in Pakistan, think about this situation? Think about China Pakistan economic corridor. Think about the prosperity of Pakistan through this China Pakistan economic corridor. Or will they want such a situation to prevail that Pakistan becomes a client state of China, and it will help China's influence grow in Pakistan, and that increased influence of China in Pakistan will help containing India, because that is the ultimate objective of the non-state actors. So this is what we need to think, and we need to understand. Pakistan's bailout package from IMF. IMF agreed to release $1.1 billion tranche of its $3 billion bailout package to Pakistan in March this year. The government is currently negotiating for a fresh package of $6 to $8 billion. But a sticking point has been Pakistan's standing debt obligation, especially to China. So it has to repay back to IMF also, it has to repay back to China also. The situation is grim. Economic output is not that much. Now we move on to the next topic, that is antimicrobial resistance. When I talk about this antimicrobial resistance, it is a situation in which your body becomes resistant to the antibiotics you are taking. Body means the bacteria in your body or the virus in your body which are causing diseases, the pathogens they are called as. They become resistant to the antibiotics which we consume as medicines. Why they become resistant? Because in the past we might have taken excessive dosage of antibiotics, and that too incomplete dosages. And these incomplete dosages in the past had definitely weakened that microbe in our body which was causing the disease, but it did not kill that microbe. Because generally what happens, the doctor prescribes us antibiotic for 5 days, but we only take for 3 days, because after the third day we feel all right. So we don't feel the need of taking the medicines. We stop the course in between. And on the third day, the bacteria has weakened enough. It will not cause disease to you, but yes, it has not died. And in the meantime, that bacteria has learned how to fight with that medicine which is coming to kill it. So in the future, when you take that medicine, though, that bacteria knows how to fight with that medicine. That medicine will not be effective on your body. And those diseases, if not treated, they can kill you as well. And that kind of situation where the bacteria becomes resistant to the antibiotics is called as antimicrobial resistance, which can be fatal as well. So antimicrobial resistant infections kill millions every year. You might be shocked to hear this, but yes, it kills millions every year. It is taking us back to those ages when common infections like urinary tract infection or pneumonia were lethal and untreatable. Because there are medicines now for these kind of, I would say, diseases, but they will not be effective because of antimicrobial resistance. So antimicrobial resistance occurs when the germs that cause infections, that is bacteria, virus, or fungi, develop ways to evade the drugs used to treat them. This is what antimicrobial resistance means. Why is AMR on the rise? Overuse of antibiotics in places like chicken farms and healthcare clinics. Chicken farms, because a lot of us do consume this poultry products. Healthcare clinics, basically doctors and all, they become a leading driver of AMR. The good news is that a major scientific push is making significant progress in the fight against AMR. The scientists are worried about this because multiple people are dying every year. So they have done something about it. Let us see what they have done. They have used AI, that is artificial intelligence. The study used machine learning to search for potential antibiotic agents in a huge database of microbes which live in the environment such as soil, oceans, humans, and animal guts. And what are these potential antibiotic agents? These are called as peptides. Now, what are peptides? There are multiple bacteria. Now, bacteria release certain, I would say, agents, and those agents go and kill other bacteria, which are problematic. So, these agents are called as peptides. Bacteria fight against each other constantly in these environments using warfare tools called as peptides, which are shot against other bacteria to kill them. Now the scientists are taking these peptides into picture and saying that bacteria are getting killed by the peptides. So let us introduce peptides in our antibiotics so that the these bacteria have become resistant to those antibiotics. They are not resistant to those peptides. Let us take those peptides. In total, 8,63,498 new antimicrobial peptides were predicted, more than 90% of which had never been described before. And this is all being used or all being predicted by using AI. It is making things easier for the scientists. Peptides as antibiotics. So the peptides were tested also as antibiotics. Peptides were introduced in the antibiotics and they were tested. There were two levels of experiment. One was in laboratory dishes. So, which of these peptides would be useful as antibiotics? The researchers synthesized 100 peptides and tested them against 11 disease causing bacterial strains. And out of these, they found that 79 peptides disrupted bacterial membranes. That were those bacterial membranes or those membranes of those bacteria which were causing these diseases. And 63 peptides specifically targeted antibiotic resistant bacteria. So, this is some good news that those bacteria which had become antimicrobial resistant or antibiotic resistant, those were also killed by those peptides, such as E. coli and Staphylococcus aureus. These are some good bacteria. Now, researchers also tested the compounds in vivo. In vivo means in a living organism. Like, this was in the laboratory dishes. But the scientists thought that if we introduce these peptides in a living organism, then whether they will be able to tackle those bacteria which have become antimicrobial resistant. So they tested the compounds in mice with infected skin abscesses, but only three of the peptides showed antimicrobial effect. So this indicates that their efficacy may be limited in vivo. In vivo means in a living organism. Still, this is a remarkable result. More research can be done on this, progress can be done on this, and we can overcome the antimicrobial resistance problem. Now we enter the MCQs. The first is consider the statements and mark the correct one. The CPEC is part of Belt and Road Initiative. The CPEC passes through the POK and Balochistan regions of Pakistan. Which of these are correct? Second, the CPEC connects which province in China to which province of Pakistan? Completely factual. I'm not going into the options as well. You can see and you can mark the correct one. Which of the following are features of CPEC? transform Pakistan's economy by building infrastructure, developing special economic zones for industrial development in Pakistan. Which of these is are correct? Then, which of these can cause antimicrobial resistance? Overuse of antibiotics in poultry farms, overuse of antibiotics in humans, especially children, incomplete dosage of antibiotics. Which of these are the correct ones? And the last question, what are peptides? These are lab grown antimicrobials. These are good bacteria present in the human gut. These are viruses having the potential to cause deadly pandemic. None of the above. So you have to answer these questions carefully, mention in the comment section. And with this, we've come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Keep watching the videos as well. Namaste. Jai Hind.